This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Only Friends podcast. This is day 34 of WSOP. There's just no end in sight. It's main event time, guys.
Let's go. Let's go.
Man,
I'm ready.
I hope you're selling a 2.0.
I should.
You're going in looking like that.
Yeah,
like,
I know,
if
right?
you're wearing that.
Who doesn't want a piece of this? America.
You're the guy that I fold kings to face up.
Exactly.
When he
Right.
raises me on the turn.
Yeah.
The problem.
Would you try to bluff this guy?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I have it, man.
But I wouldn't expect him to bluff me.
Correct.
So you should be bluffing a lot.
Yeah. I'll take it up a notch.
No, the
No,
tortoise
you
will be doing
you won't.
no bluffing
Yeah,
on
I
day
know.
one.
That's the problem is that the image is great, but he's not going to abuse it.
Right. Honestly, I
Keep
kind of
building that image. Keep building it up and building it up.
I kind of want to
building it
give
up.
him a notebook and like just have him write a tally mark of every
He
time
bluffed
that
against Chin, though. I mean, he had equity, but he bluffed.
how much equity?
You know,
A lot
Gut
of
shot.
equity.
he had a lot.
Top pair and a gut shot.
He had a pair and a gut
Yeah,
shot.
top pair and a gut shot, and we're calling that bluffing. Get it together.
Top pair, second kicker, and a gutter.
Yeah,
He almost folded
that's a
bottom
bluff
set.
that's
He
a
almost
bluff for
folded
him.
bottom set.
Didn't he check back an overpair against you on the river?
On the turn.
Yeah, when she
Turn,
turned the
yeah.
nuts.
Turn.
Yeah.
I wanted
Brian
to double
was
check
scared.
raise him, and he denied me.
Shit.
Yeah, he
You wanted
definitely
to triple check.
I double check raise the other
Again,
day.
does this look like someone who gets double check raised?
No,
Yes,
but the
actually,
turn.
yes,
No.
it does.
No, because he doesn't allow himself, if he gets check raise on flop, to put in a bet on a turn.
Yeah.
So when you
He's
check raise
racing to
flop, you're
showdown.
buying a
He
river.
just
looks
like,
like
he wants
check,
to get
check,
to
check.
showdown. Yeah.
he looks like a member from the Barstool Sports podcast that has never played poker before. That decided to put in the main event for the first time.
It's like you want a
You
subscription.
know I'm making top 3 tables for sure.
It's like you want a sweepstakes giveaway to play the main event.
I can't believe I didn't pick you as my Kessler.
I can't believe you didn't.
You're talking
either.
all this
that
shit.
Was the
How
fucking
much
gold
action did
man.
you buy from Brian this
A
year?
lot.
And I think you're at least even, if not up.
Oh yeah, look,
Yeah,
he,
his ROI is great.
he's the chainsaw of the main event.
I
Like he
knew-
will cash 60% of the time.
I knew that Brian would be a chalk pick, so I went a different approach.
I don't think
He
anybody
was
picked
not a
Brian
chalk
but me.
pick.
I looked at fucking the thing, and I think it was one person, and it was me for the
Yeah.
chainsaw.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
I picked myself.
Guapo
I picked
took-
myself
Guapo
for
took Brian,
the
too.
the 5x, the underdog.
Oh, well, only, I didn't think
strong.
anybody would ever take you for anything other than.
Wait, are we
chainsaw.
we're gonna get into that?
Yeah, we'll discuss all of our fantasy picks as we wrap the show today. Very successful. I put it out to the public. We got 49 entrants.
Nice.
Now, granted, 7 of us are in the room, but still, the public is on it. We're doing a $500 fantasy draft. So first will probably be, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of $14K, give or take.
Ooh.
Nice.
It's
I like mine.
Is it winner take all?
But I said that last time
No,
too.
it can't be 40.
top 4 spots are going to pay. It'll graduate, but I think like half will go to first, maybe a little bit more, maybe 60%. I don't know. We'll figure it out today.
The golden ratio.
Big shout out to big shout out to the 25K fantasy draft website. They're going to be hosting all of the scoring and tracking.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to
Cool.
get them over the database today. They're going to upload everything in the next couple days. So by the time the main event starts to make the money, you'll be able to follow along there.
Sick.
That's great. I thought
Thanks,
for
legit.
sure that was gonna fall into my hands. So that's nice. That's nice. I don't have to do that.
That's why Berkey didn't care. I didn't even think about that.
I
shit.
know. I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, who's gonna like review all this? It's a lot of work.
Make sure you thank Alan Kessler also.
Yeah. Okay. Kessler. We named the fucking category after you. How much more thanks do you need? The chainsaw category is my favorite fantasy category of all time. And I had to explain it maybe 5 or 6 times to different people, but I love this notion that you have to draft somebody that you think will cash often and never win.
I like my pick, even though I think that my pick can win. Definitely can win.
Who's
But
yours?
I think it's just a good
I fucked
pick.
up. I tipped my pick. I said I wanted Ronnie Barta on air because he's just the
everyone-
goat at
bunch of
cashing.
people picked him?
He became the chalk pick, so I got off Ronnie.
Yeah.
I found the real goat though. Don't you guys worry.
No,
we
mine
have a
is-
secret
mine
reveal
is-
later.
Listen,
I got
last
what- I
time
got
we
what
had
plant.
Last time we had fantasy draft conversations, somebody to the right of me.
You know what? We don't have to talk about that right now. What we're gonna do is big main event weekend.
You only draft your friends. As my friends have like 2 bracelets, the final tables, and
He
we're
couldn't
winning.
have drafted a worse team.
He's second to last in the entire
I'm
thing.
second to last in the entire. Half of my team
so
didn't show.
Berkey's gonna be in makeup. For sure.
He's in his own tab. He tried to bet me the house on his own team versus mine.
Half of my team didn't even come to the World Series. They're over it. They're dads. They're enjoying their life. You know what? They're smart. Is
They're
what
too
they are.
rich.
They're too rich. And honestly, I get it because I was so excited for this mystery bounty. So excited. I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to this notion of a 1K that's going to get 20,000 runners.
I was texting you guys.
This structure stinks.
The amount of times that we've heard from Matt, like, I'm going to bag chip lead in the mystery bounty, is a lot.
It's impossible.
And the amount of times he's bagged any tournament ever, not a lot.
It's impossible. The structures fucking stink, man. I'm sorry. Like, I was.
This is the first time. You're a complete misreg now. Because I remember you were like, listen, make day one, like, whatever. We all flip for it, and then we go on to the next day.
Yeah, if we play for fucking 8 hours.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is they keep forcing more and more and more levels. I was talking to Landon about this the other day. I don't mind the 40-60 structure. I think that that's fine if we're going to do it moving forward. But you can't play 22 fucking levels on day one because you're beating the structure apart.
You're incinerating
You're
everyone.
obliterating it.
30-40 they're running, right?
This one's 30-40, which is even worse.
Yeah.
So now we're just playing like
22
95% of the tournament out on day one.
It is 5% make it through.
Yeah. So 5% make it through to the bounties, which
But
now
that allows for like really big bounties, which people want. I mean, it's like, I get it.
you could have big bounties with. They could have done a big bounty with it being everybody who cashed, for sure.
Just,
For
just
sure.
15%, play down to 15% of the field, the rest come
Well,
back.
you just only have 10% cash, which considering making the money is making $21, I think that's probably fine.
Yeah, like I think
Call me crazy.
Was it really?
It's $1,021
to cash.
Yeah.
Mine was $1,060.
I mean, that's pretty normal for like PKOs.
Yeah, I get it. And to be fair, like you're technically making 300 because you're getting your bounty back, but it's just unnecessary. Just don't pay that 5%.
Yeah.
Like, no one is gonna complain about
the 20.
that.
Yeah.
Like for sure. And like you funnel more money to the top, which is what you're looking to do whenever you guarantee a big bounty like this. But the other thing is that like you just could have created more small bounties. That it's fine. Like basically, like I don't care about the bounty prize pool. You have $1 million up top in it. That's going to be the big lottery that we put a shining light on, or whatever the case may be. But you can't make the rest of the tournament a miserable experience. I plan to max fire in this. I fired one bullet, and I'm done. I'm done.
Not playing
There's
today.
no way I will play another bullet. It's a 30-minute turbo for 15 hours on day one, where your likelihood of bagging is
You can play
zero.
the fourth. You
Ten-handed
can play
also.
the fourth flight, and it's a real turbo. It's
Honestly, there's a
It's a
better
hyper.
chance I play that.
15 minutes.
Wait,
oh
what
my
is
god!
that?
It's a
15-minute
hyper.
levels.
It's a hyper. It's 15-minute
Starts at 7
levels,
o'clock
6.5
tonight.
hours long.
7 o'clock tonight.
7 o'clock
Yeah.
tonight. There's no dinner
that
break.
kinda
15-minute
sounds-
levels. 15-minute breaks.
That's better than the torture chamber they
I'm
put us
kind of
through.
into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think for this tournament, they probably could have structured it slightly behind the main, so you can have a little bit more days.
Oh,
so
I
you can
hate
have
that
longer
too.
days.
I hate
You
that
think,
they're-
you think if it was like a 3-day
It's
tournament, but
conflicting. It's not.
no, if they move it back a week, why would it be conflicting?
Oh, you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I agree with Landon. I
Yeah.
think this is
I thought you said you hate that.
No. I thought.
no. I hate that it conflicts with the
Oh
main.
yeah,
too.
I think it should be
Yeah.
a week back and have a little bit
yeah.
more time
It should
for
be
it.
its own thing.
Yeah, this is a marquee event. It's insane to overlap it with the main event.
Yeah.
Like we want to put focus on the main. Like I don't want to just like haphazardly fire
And
whenever
go, like,
I'm
Right.
Yeah.
And go like back and forth between like a 30-minute lottery into a
Right.
2 hours levels.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's-
I'm sorry. Like I've been trying to give as much praise as possible. I think the new venue is amazing. I think that some of the schedule changes have been really good, but man, there's still just a massive lack of well-structured event that we've come to be accustomed to at the World Series. I think I've played like 4 or 5 events that have hour levels this year.
Yeah.
The high rollers are fucking turbos.
they were all 30 minutes.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's
I
weird.
played a 10K buy-in and 2 25K buy-ins.
Yeah.
And I got 30-minute levels for the 10K and 40-minute levels for the 25K.
That's funny. So wait, what
this
was
is
what-
insane.
I'm pretty sure
so
the
wait,
25K. The 25K was hour levels. The 25K
Not
was
on day
hour.
one.
The 25K that
Was it?
that we played, I'm pretty sure it was hour levels. Yeah,
Okay.
it was because
I
there was no
stand
dinner break.
corrected
There
if
was 8
that's true.
levels.
The Monster and the Million
Yeah, I was
are
gonna
like
say,
the best tournaments.
those
to
are
play.
the only
And
two
the
because
ladies
like, I know the
event.
3Ks and the
Millionaire
5K
Maker,
half and
ladies
half was
event.
both 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure.
Well, so there was a 3K 30-minute 6 max, which is obviously obnoxious.
Yeah.
But then the freeze out,
Was
I believe,
40-60.
was 40-60.
Yeah,
Which,
okay.
again, I'm okay with the 40-60. But you have to cut those end-of-day levels. Like, I remember I think it was the 3K freeze out. I ended up, like, bubbling it. But we were it was like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m., something like that. And I was like, okay, we're bagging. And they're like, blinds are up. I'm like, how?
Yeah, there's a lot of like played at 2:30 a.m. a ton this year after playing.
Starting at 11.
Starting at 11, starting at 12.
Bro, the World Series
22
used to be
levels.
a finely oiled machine. You started at noon, you ended at midnight, and the money broke like somewhere in that last level or one of the
Or in
first
the
levels the
beginning
next
levels
day.
of the next day.
Yeah, this 3K was a disaster. They ran it from 11 till 2:30 in the morning, didn't break the bubble, came back the next day. You cashed this, Chin.
What?
The 3K
Yeah.
came back the next day, 6 off the money, 2-hour money bubble.
Oh yeah, that was not.
It was 6
2
off the money?
hours. 2 hours because of the stalling problem. So now I don't know how intentional this is, but the last 3 big events that they've ran, the mini main and both flights of the bounty so far. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but it seems too coincidental for it not to be. They've been sending them on break like 80 out of the money, and they come back and they're on the bubble.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 100% intentional. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
They do it. They don't update, and I think it's actually kind of smart, right?
It's sharp,
like,
but it's really fucked up.
yeah, right. I mean,
Strategy
it's
changes
sharp
a lot.
as in, like I understand it's gonna help with the stalling problem, but I've noticed that they've done that, and it's
No,
not
it
just
happened
this year.
yesterday.
They've
I mean,
done that a
was
lot.
it- or the day before when
Right.
we were on the bubble.
They
It was
don't
2
want
days
people to
ago,
know
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
that close.
The
2 days
issue
ago-
is that's not the conclusion. Like that shouldn't be the
Correct.
answer here. That's the issue here. 'cause,
It's bad faith.
Yeah.
Because now you're messing with other people's money. Now
Right.
in the bounty, whatever, like the cash
You're
is
affecting how people might play based on
Well,
bad
it
information.
should affect how you play because the
Right.
closer you are to the money, the different ranges change. Like
Right,
you play
of
less,
course,
your
yeah,
bluffs
yeah.
come from different
Of course,
spots.
great.
So if you know that you're closer than, like if you're told you're not as close as you actually are,
Right, you're getting bad. You're making your. It's affecting your play from bad information.
And
Yeah.
if they're putting devices on the table for this $1 million bounty, why can't we get one for shot clocks?
I don't
What
so
the fuck?
so that's a good thing, good point to bring up. I don't know if I understood that tweet correctly because that was my impression.
That's what I thought, too.
What you said,
Yeah.
where there's going to be a tablet on each table, and you get a bounty, you press the tablet right immediately.
No, I thought you
I
walked
thought
up
you
somewhere.
walk up, then you hit it, and it's either 1 through
No.
5K, and if
Yeah,
you get the gold
that's what
chest,
I
then you
thought.
keep
I thought
going
there was like
up.
a certain spot.
I
where
thought
you
it was
All
at
right,
the
sure.
table.
A bunch of iPads don't cost that much. So why can't we?
Well,
just,
this is a big difference. So if there's one tablet, this doesn't circumvent the problem at all.
It's
No, I
one
thought it was
tab.
at the table, and then if it's over 25K,
Yeah, so
you
that's
then
what
you
I thought
walk
it
up
was.
to the stage.
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
you go somewhere, hit
No.
it, and if you get a gold chest, then you go
That's
to
what
the
I
stage.
thought.
it's,
too.
there's an instant. They said like there's instant prize, or
Correct.
you walk up if it's over 25K.
What's not clear to me though is whether or not that is being handled through some sort of queue where you wait in line to.
I don't think it is. I
that,
think
that
it's
was,
an iPad.
that's the whole reason why
Yeah.
I think they
Maybe they just come
implemented
to you.
this.
Yeah.
You know when it's like, oh, seat
No.
open, and then the
No,
person comes
that
and
would
then
be-
you give you a
bro,
that
tablet.
would be
and-
way
That's
too
a cue.
5% of this
cumbersome.
field, 5% of this field might be 500 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cue if that happens.
It would have
because-
to be the iPad thing.
especially
It
since
doesn't make
everybody's
any
so
sense
short right now.
otherwise.
well,
Like-
who even knows about the iPad thing? Because in the 25K, they removed the iPads and removed the shot clock because they didn't have enough.
Right, but that was whenever they got over 400 people.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
they probably have like 40 iPads.
You think they have more now?
I don't know. But you can't
What's the
redeem.
iPad situation?
Well, you can't redeem until 4 p.m. So that means that for like 3 hours of day 2, people will be accumulating bounties and unable to redeem. So
Is there a reason for that?
It can't be at the table because people will have bounties that bust. Right? Like
Well,
they'll
'cause I
have
know
a
for-
bounty, but they already busted.
For like the mystery bounty and like other places, you can just go whenever you get one.
I don't think it's like that for this.
That's what I'm
I'm
trying to
agreeing
say. It
with you.
can't
Yeah.
be at the table.
I didn't
Because
think it was either.
well,
I-
it
let's
could,
say-
it could
I
be
mean,
at the
they
table
t-
and a line,
okay,
right?
fine,
So
yeah.
like if you bust prior to the 4 p.m. redemption, those people get into line, right? But if you're still at a table, once 4 p.m. redemption comes up, then you're just able to do it instantly.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know how complicated this is because I imagine they're going to have to log the person's name.
That's why they ask for those.
You have to. Everybody has to have their card on them.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you probably swipe the card.
I have faith.
Give them your token, and then press the button.
Hey, I'm here, ready to eat crow if I'm wrong. I have faith WSOP got this right.
Yes, me too.
Me too.
But the problem is, why can't we put some shot clocks on the damn
Correct.
table?
Right.
Also, people need to play faster in these turbos, man. Like these 30 minutes. Like,
well, you're not
people
incentivized
attacking,
to. The EV of tanking is greater than ever playing a hand.
It's really tough.
Think how much the
It's really
EV of
annoying,
tanking
bro.
is like the last 2 levels of the tournament.
The whole
Or, I mean,
tournament.
not the tournament, the last 2 levels of the night of day 1.
Yeah.
Like if you have any kind of a stack, you should be tanking as much as you can to get to
Relax,
day 2.
bro. There's still 2 levels.
I wonder if that means that
1 hour. That's 1 hour.
I'm
I
sure
think
wonder
5
if you'll
minutes is
get
so
like
stupid.
I wonder if you will
It's
get
dumb,
you
but-
could get a lot of shoves through at the end of the day then because people
You
just want to
should.
bag.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a bubble.
There's always the.
It's
a
not
huge
even a
bubble.
soft bubble. It's
And
a
the
hard
bounty
bubble.
doesn't
Yeah.
count, so
Right.
like they don't really want to call
They're
you
not
off.
calling light.
Right.
Yeah.
But on day 2, you ain't getting anything through.
But
Yeah.
the structure ended up being where like the average stack was like 20 bigs.
Maybe even
was-
slightly less.
Yeah, it was wild at the end. Like I busted last level of the night, and I'm just like, I'm looking around. I'm like, no one has chips.
Yeah, and it doesn't
Like,
really correct enough. Going from 30 to 40 isn't a big enough correction. Like going from 40 to an hour is a pretty big correction,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm so angry that they're stuffing so many extra levels into the 40. Because like I was talking to Landon, it's like, you know, you make it to the end of day, or you make it to those final 2 levels, and you have what would be deemed you well above average stack, but well above average oftentimes is like 50.
Yeah.
Right? Like you might
Less,
be like
maybe.
2.5x average. I've noticed the chip leads are not what they used to
No.
be. Chip lead was guaranteed to be 100 to 200 big blinds in all WSOP events in the past.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at like 70 to 80.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same because now whenever you move into the following day, there's this mass exodus because everybody's hyper short.
Yeah.
And there's no separation now from the top to bottom. So even though we get that gradual slowdown and now we get our levels, all that really helps is the massive short stacks that came in.
It does.
Right? So it's like what you end up seeing is everybody regress to the mean and the average stack basically stays the same or slightly lessens, which is definitely not what you want as a overall experience for a 3-day event, right? These 3-day events are playing out like they're 2-day turbos. And that tends to be the case. Usually they're going into day 3 and they're down to like the final 12,
down to,
9, 6, whatever. It's like, it used to be day 3 was 3 tables.
Yeah.
And that was fine. Would start the final table at 6 p.m. You knew that you were going to play it out till 1. And you know, you were good with
play.
that. The 3K seemed to have played out that way. But it was a tough field. And people started stalling all the way back at the bubble and never stopped. You know? I think that there's a lot
They got the structures a little bit shaky this year.
I think
There
there's
was
a
a lot of
lot that could be
switching.
corrected. And I just don't think that they are necessarily open to the right idea. Like they fell too deeply into the idea that people want a lot of chips at the start. And I think it's as much of a misnomer as recreational players want to play without an ante. Right?
Yeah.
Like we just found that to be bullshit. But it was stuffed down my throat for the better part of a decade by everybody who has anything to do with structures that you don't know the data. And I'm telling you right now, recreationals want to play
Like
without
you
an
know,
ante.
if it's like an ultra deep stack, the average is going to be like 20 big blinds, final 2 tables.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hate
as
all
soon
these
as they start using like gimmicks for what the
Yeah.
stacks are, you realize, okay, this is just a super turbo
Right.
when it matters most.
Super
Right, the
monster.
more chips that they
It's like,
advertise-
so you have 10 big
It's a
blinds.
super
at the final
monster
table.
Isn't
mega
this what
giga
happened with-
stack, and then you have 5 bigs by dinner
So
break.
isn't this what happened with Venetian deep stacks? It's like the same thing,
Yeah.
right? Like before, like what, 10 years ago or so, the stacks were super short, even maybe 15 years ago in the WSOP, and then Venetian comes out and we're going to do our deep stack tournament, so everyone gets all these
Yeah.
chips to play with,
Start with
right?
40,000
but then it was
big blinds.
always short at the end, super short at the end.
Yeah.
And super fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody wants this shit.
now that's exactly
always,
what's
like,
happening here in
overcorrects.
the WSOP.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the big thing that I want to note is that this isn't necessarily all the staff's fault
And
with the way
fields
that they
have
create.
never been bigger, so it's not like
Right, but like we
People
can't.
don't want this.
Okay, but
No,
but you
that's two
shouldn't
different things.
you shouldn't take for granted what that means, right? Like you shouldn't make a correlation of field size grew, therefore structures equal correct, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
The fact of the matter is people were coming out in droves because they desperately want to play good MTTs. If they leave with a feeling of this sucks, I played really long fucking days and did not cash all that often. And the exact opposite's happening than what I think the WSOP wants. It's not a lot of recreationals that are winning money. It's the exact opposite. It's mostly pros because they think that by allowing the average, I don't know, I shouldn't put words in their mouth, but the assumption is that by allowing the average stack to be less than, what it allows for is more variance and more parity amongst the winners. But the exact opposite is true.
Because all the pros
We're all
know-
fucking
they-
studied in short
right, they
stack
all know
poker.
the short
Everybody's good at
stack.
push
They all know
Yeah.
the push short
Yeah,
stacks, right.
you might not see a bunch of repeat winners because there's obviously variance involved, but across the board, you're going to see high-level professionals.
Right. And I would think this would be even more so in the bounty because obviously I would think in this kind of tournament, the shove ranges and call ranges are going to be, you're going to adjust. They're going to be different. Have to. And all the sharp people, all the study people are going to make that adjustment, and the recreational players are not going to make that.
Right.
They're going to get torched on day two.
Absolutely torched. Absolutely torched. So I think that like what I was trying to say is it's not necessarily all of their fault because what most TDs or whoever's creating the structures lack is a finger on the pulse of how strategy is shifting, right? And the easiest way to catch up to like what the most common trends are is look at online play. And we can see that in rest of world sites, it's just relatively commonplace for tournaments to play out very similarly to how the WSOP is playing out right now. And the reason for that is everybody understands where the EV's derived. So they understand the points at which they should be tanking. They understand how to utilize their time banks appropriately. They understand proper push fold. They understand like, you know, proper pre-flop strategies and all these other things. And good players just start to converge upon one another, meaning that there isn't a whole lot of edge to be gained in, I don't want to say deep stack play, but in the exchanging of chips, right? Everybody's very careful about how chips get exchanged. So when you have a massive influx now of dead money into that sort of environment, what ultimately happens is the best players just gobble up all of that EV early and then reduce the tournament back down to a stall fest, to a push fold
That's
fest.
exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Right? They just let the structure take over once they've put themselves in the pole position.
Yeah.
And now all of the dead money gets absolutely cannibalized. I don't have access to numbers. I don't have access to data. But I promise, if WSOP is careful enough,
It's a little funny. It's a little
What?
funny. It's just the way that the sentence played out.
No, it was just funny. Yeah.
I mean, I'm very confident, even without seeing the data, if WSOP ran their numbers as far as like players who have, I don't know if they can actually look at P&L to know if people are winning. But if you look at like players who have, call it 5 years experience at the WSOP, and they categorically sorted them prior to this year as losers and winners, I promise you that the recreational subset is losing much more this year
They 100% could
than
get
they
that
have been
data.
in years past.
They either have it or they could get it for sure. It's easy.
I don't know, because the thing is that like you need to have some sort of like data qualifier as to what makes somebody a recreational versus
Oh,
not.
I see.
Right? But the point I'm trying to make is that I think that the dead money is more dead now than it ever has been before, based on these like cannibalistic structures, right? It just the churn is so high. You're talking about like very few people having a good experience whenever they have to play 14 hours just to bag a day two, and they do it with crumbs. So they very rarely make a run.
Also, there's the problem of like when you're running turbos and you're already, let's say for example, you're losing, and it's turbos, it's more buy-ins.
Right.
So they lose faster.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're losing in a whatever 3K or whatever, call it a 1500 hour levels with like a good structure, you're just more likely to lose that one bullet. Whereas like in this bounty, you're just probably gonna lose 2 bullets first day, 2 bullets next day. Like you're just gonna lose a lot because the structure is so fast.
Yeah, in years past, this would have been reminiscent of the Colossus, but there was only 1 or 2 of those events a year. Now that's the marquee every week.
Yeah.
Every week is some other version of the old Colossus.
Yeah.
And yeah, people show up in droves because they want a chance at a lottery ticket. But they're more dead in these fields than they would be in a slightly tougher 1500 with hour levels, which is kind of crazy, right? Because we think like, oh, well, if we slow down the structure enough, like the main event, then the pros are just massive favorites. But you forget how far somebody can go just by playing really tight, right? Every year, yeah, the tortoise knows.
Tortoise knows.
Every year there's a recreational in the final 18. Every single year. You just don't see that sort of parity.
Handful of recreation.
Yeah, a handful, right? And you just aren't seeing that parity in the prelims anymore. All right, I'm going to get off my
Soapbox.
yeah, fist.
High horse.
Ned
fist waving.
Flanders' rant is done.
Well, I do have one more rant. I do have one more
I owned a
WSOP rant.
pick.
So as I walked in yesterday to get in line to sit for the bounty, an announcement comes over the speaker.
Oh shit.
And it's a floor woman saying, just a reminder, if you are caught taking photographs with flash, video, or anything of that sort, you will be disqualified from this tournament and banned from Caesar's property. Or
Okay.
potentially banned from Caesar's property.
Wow, I saw a tweet. I didn't know if it was a troll or not.
So I had no context to this whatsoever. I'm like, what the fuck? So the whole room starts booing. They literally just start booing. And I assume that this is like some sort of,
Like
I thought that they were
vlogger
taking
thing.
a stand against vlogging, right?
Yeah.
But it turns out what had happened was 2-3 of spades showed up on a flop.
There it is.
Obviously, people took pictures of this. And look, let's not make a bigger deal out of this than what it is. They're running 1,000 tables, maybe slightly less. They probably have like a few thousand decks in play.
Yeah.
This is going to happen.
Yeah, of course. It's
Mistakes
not that
happen.
serious.
Things happen. Like we're talking about like a less than 1% likelihood of this having happened, right? It's the first time all summer. They've probably ran, I don't know, 5,000 decks through the World Series thus far. And we got one bad one, okay? Like
Yeah.
a foul deck is going to take place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not even have been their fault. It might have just came like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like one way or another, like a foul deck is,
Kopech's fault.
yeah, it has,
Whoa.
well, somebody's still supposed to check it, but
Spread it.
regardless, it's human, right? Like this isn't online, it's not automated. So like, let's not make a bigger stink of it than what it is. But the knee-jerk reaction to have it covered up and threaten bans if anybody takes a picture of this happening is insane.
Yo, real
So
talk,
wild.
So
real
weird.
talk, like fuck that shit. You
Like-
talking about like banning people? How about you go ban Ali? How about you go ban Jake Schindler? Don't ban
How about
a
you
guy
go
taking a
ban
photo
the
of a
girl with
mistake
the
that
chips
you
in her
made.
pockets?
Like,
It's the Streisand effect with this.
It's the what?
The Streisand effect, where Barbara Streisand,
Yeah.
she wanted to cover up her nose a lot, and it just accentuated everybody talking about her
Good.
nose.
No, good.
They're doing the same thing here, where by them trying to cover it up, they're just going to shine a spotlight, a massive spotlight
yeah, it's worse.
on this.
It's just such a bad look to threaten being 86th from the WSOP
Like a
forever for
freaking
taking a
dictator.
picture.
It's like everybody's taking pictures.
Come on.
At every table.
What
on
is-
every all
like-
in. Wait. Don't bring the cards in yet. Let me get my picture before I walk
Yeah.
away because I just busted.
Videos run for minutes on the bubble.
Yes.
Like-
Everywhere.
It's harmless too.
Of course it's harmless.
Overall, it's really good for your brand. Like, sure, there are going to be some flubs here and there, but Jesus, give the
What looks worse is the line that wraps around
Yeah.
the freaking casino all the way down to the
Yes.
slots. How come you don't ban people for taking? Handle that.
But they're
There's
kind of threatening that they would.
But that's nuts, man. It's like you're just gonna. You can't do
What is
that.
this,
like,
North Korea?
like it's
You talking about
Sorry.
the late registration line?
bro.
To sit.
If you there were tournaments where
Yeah.
if I forgot
You stand
exactly.
in line for 45 minutes an hour just to register,
No.
and then you get in the late registration.
No, the
line.
late registration. Listen, the late registration line this week for one of these marquee events was from
It was the mini main.
from to the mini main, from the top where you late reg all the way out past the WSOP cafe, all the way into the slot area. Like that's an insane line.
The thing
Yeah.
is, I'm not even sure why they had that big. So the mini main got 7,000 runners, I believe.
Yes.
58, right?
No.
Oh, 7,000. Yeah. I don't know.
I think it was like
I'll look it up.
78 when it was all said and done. But there was nothing else really running simultaneously, I don't believe. right?
No, wasn't the ladies running.
Yeah,
The
it was
ladies
the
was at the final
ladies, it
table,
was
I
the-
think.
No,
No.
during that long ass line.
No, that's when
Thursday?
that was when I
everything-
was trying to reg.
Everything
and-
reds together.
Oh,
The ladies, that,
the super seniors,
and,
Yes.
yep, all three of them.
and it's like some mixed events,
Super
stuff like
Seniors
that.
was on like day 3 or whatever.
Okay.
And then the ladies and Super Turbo and Bravo was down.
Right.
So-
Okay. Yeah.
5,833 entries.
How many?
5,833.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little bit more forgiving of the line because I think that they do a really good job of getting people in.
It's such a bad experience, man. Like,
It feels bad, yeah, but like they can only. The problem is that until they're able to staff something bigger where they can utilize all of the space of Paris and Bally's, the only other alternative would be to turn people away.
Or
Right.
just get a better server for your site.
No, that wouldn't help.
No, well,
this is
it's
the
Oh,
line
you're
to
talking
get a
about
seat.
seating lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's after you got your ticket.
Like, I don't. Obviously, you haven't experienced this, but Venetian last summer, you would literally register and leave.
No, I have.
Oh, yeah.
But
I
I used to
used to
just
too.
say the alternate on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you go do your thing. They'll put the alternates, calling alternates 97 through whatever,
Right.
and then you go back.
Right, but what the difference is that the Venetian structure is good, so it takes hours to get hundreds of people in. The structure for these events is terrible. I was in a line yesterday that had to be 200 people deep. I waited 12 minutes. That's not a joke. I was in the hallway. I waited 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Like we got
saw
through
him
so
because
fast.
because that bounty structure was god awful.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So you can't turn people away and say like leave. We don't know how long it will take for us to get 1,000 of you in. The answer is like an hour at
Yeah.
most.
I was at the slot machine when I started in the line, and I think it took me like an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like all things considered, they're doing a remarkable job getting people through. The problem is it's
Yeah.
coming at the expense of
of
the structure
people that are in.
Right. So it's like
More rake, though.
we have to figure out as a community what we value. Do we value the structure? Do we value the prize pools? Do we value getting as many people in as possible? Like, what is the worst experience? Turning someone away, or
No, it
having a
benefits-
shit structure?
It benefits them because they
course
structure
it
people
benefits them.
rebuy. They more rake. Like,
I'm saying
that's-
from our standpoint, like
But how much-
if we're making the argument.
Yeah. How much?
mean,
how much can we affect it? I mean, obviously, if the whole community rises
I
up,
think we
then-
have some impact. I don't think that we're gonna change the bottom line of WSOP.
Right. At the end of the day, they're going to do.
I
what's
truly
best
do
for them.
believe that they listen, though. I think that they want people to have
Yeah.
a pleasant experience.
Right. Of course. Of course, they
Yo,
should.
there's
I mean,
no
we're their
way.
customers.
There's no way that a recreational wants to like literally wait an hour and a half, get in, and be out in like 2 hours.
No, but
Like-
but there's certain things that you can't control.
4
right?
levels. Well,
I
yeah,
agree
but that's
with you.
because it's not because they're in control. It's because the structure forces you.
But this
to
is what
be
I'm
in.
saying. Like, there's only certain things that we can control, right? So either the structure gets better, and now we have to turn people away because they'll never get in, right? If you have 1,000 people in line with a hour-long structure, they're just not getting in. Period.
Yeah.
There's just no room for it. So now we have to cap the event, or we just leave the structure bad and leave the event uncapped. I think the happy medium. This is crazy, but hear me out. I think the happy medium is to change the level structures after reg closes.
Change the level structure.
So instead of it being like 40-60 between day 1 and day 2, it's 40-60 between pre-reg
it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
post-reg.
I don't mind
Ooh.
that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
I also
actually-
think there's the option of like, and Win does this. It's like when there's a big tournament, there are no cash games going at that time.
Yeah, but
Like,
there aren't a lot of cash games.
yeah, there are. Like that whole back
Yeah.
right section
I
of
don't think
WSOP
that's
is all
cash
cash games.
It's not about how many tables it is, how many tables are populated, because that's the dealing
Yeah,
staff.
they're all populated.
Well,
There's a lot of cash games and there's a lot of daily deep stacks. They
Yeah, like
cancel
what-
one. There's
They
3
cancel
daily
the deep
steep-
stacks all the time.
Yeah, but they're running. I feel like they're running 2 on average every day when they're like during these big things, and they're only canceling one of them. And
Yeah, they're canceling the one that registers during registration, like the 3 p.m. or whatever, but they don't cancel the 7 p.m.
doesn't that just make max late regging for people that are gonna do that post reg like worth a lot more?
I mean, it
Comes
makes
to-
it worth something,
Like-
but I also think we
incentivizes
could
it.
just like reduce registration time. That would probably be another really important correction.
This sounds
So
like
what you would be saying
Then
is
you-
like there's 4 hours of gameplay, and then like for 30-minute levels, and then late reg is only for 2 hours, like those 4 hours, and after that you change the
Yeah.
hour levels.
this sounds
Yeah.
like great for us, but it also sounds like a logistical problem on their side because now tournaments are going to be extended for a very long time with more people.
Not really.
in the field, right?
If you
Well,
schedule
you're
it correctly,
funneling people if you're reg time is shorter, you're funneling people into a shorter time frame. So isn't that going to make traffic worse?
Yeah.
And the fields are going to be smaller because people can't reg as much and people aren't busting as quick.
The fields will decrease somewhat.
Well, are they? Because there's only one re-entry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, yeah.
when you bust,
It can't be that different, right?
because if it's 8 hours of late reg, when you bust in hour 4 through 8, you don't get to re-enter this way because the registration ends at 4 hours.
How many bullets do you think people are in for on average in these tournaments? Like for each person, how many bullets do you think they represent?
Probably
like 1.2?
No, less. Maybe like 1.1.
1.1. So like how different can the field size be based off of the registration?
Well, there will just be certain people who just
There'll
don't
just be
come
less
at all.
time to register, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be certain people who like to late reg and like don't want to wait.
You think like 90,
what I'm saying,
90% of the people are only firing one bullet?
No, like in the Colossusburg, the average was 2.5.
Yeah, but that's
in the
different.
original Colossus,
But
like Colossus 2.
right, but that was different because
But it was unlimited bullets.
It was multi-flights and you had unlimited bullets.
Yeah.
So if you cap it to 1 and you create a line to get back in, it greatly reduces it.
That was also like a 500.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
maybe
five.
it's slightly higher than 9.
Yeah, I would
10%.
think it'd be more like 1.3.
But yeah, so the issue would kind of correct itself if we did what I'm saying, in the sense that the line would still kind of exist, but they'd be waiting in line now to get into a better structure, right? So what happens now is the line dissipates right before dinner, and then everybody goes on dinner break, and now all the max late reggers come in.
Yeah.
But if you force them to come in 2 hours earlier, so that there isn't that dinner break where nothing happens, now all of a sudden everybody is just like getting seated during that 2 hour span. And maybe you don't change the levels until after the dinner break, which is also fine by me. So you still have the late reggers coming in to the original structure, and you're still churning and moving, but eventually like the tournament starts to correct at the time that it really matters.
Kind of like once everybody gets seated, then it changes.
Yeah.
Or try to adjust
Now
it
you
that
get to
way.
play a real event. I don't know, man. I just think that there are like some creative things that can be done that can handle this problem that maybe they don't see as a problem, but I think from our vantage point, like the experience definitely isn't great.
Give us a call, Jack.
Especially if you're being threatened to get 86th for
That is ridiculous. Especially since like that was never a thing.
What a
So everyone's just
Karen move.
so used to using their phones, taking pictures. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you take a picture and you're
Because
banned.
they're trying to protect the shield, man. They're trying to protect the WSOP shield. Like,
Yeah, it's just going too far. You have to have a little bit of faith in the consumers that like we keep showing up in droves. Imagine that we'll support you through like one mistake.
Yeah, you think
that's very small. Nonetheless.
You think like, oh my God, there was 2-3 of spades on the flop. I'm never coming back to the WSOP.
Makes
Right.
it look way worse.
It's also one of those things where like they
Go down to the golden
they start
nugget.
to
They got
encourage
jokers.
dealers to over police also for things that really don't matter. Like yesterday I was playing the bracelet event on my phone and this dealer just starts ripping my head off because I'm in a hand.
No way.
And I'm like, I'm playing WSOP. She goes, I don't care what you're playing. I was like, call the floor.
God.
Just
Yeah.
call the floor.
Yeah.
Because you're wrong.
You're right, of
You're
course.
just blatantly wrong. You're
Right.
making me use a tone with you and I don't want to. But like you're just absolutely incorrect. So she like shouts floor in this massive room where there's one floor person working for like 1,000 tables. I'm just like, just play the fucking hand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to do here, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm very forgiving of a lot of these things. It's just don't make the experience. I don't care that it happened to me. I don't care that it happened to me at all, right? But if you have a rec who's playing WSOP online, getting tongue lashed by the dealer, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to handle it well, and he's going to quit playing one of those two things, if not both.
Yeah.
I think you're mentioning a lot of problems of, I think poker's underlying scale problem, which is it's still being run in an analog world, and we're all in digital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Right?
that's
You're
facts.
saying that, you're calling for one floor for the entire room. That's a huge problem, and we're not going to have floor shortage solutions anytime soon.
Right.
We're not going to have dealer solutions anytime soon.
Right. Yeah.
So really, to me, all this shit needs to go to the app, and it just needs to ping you like, go to this table, rather than someone
Poker
walking you
Atlas,
there.
Poker Atlas can handle a lot of this stuff, but I'm pretty confident that WSOP specifically is like locked in with Bravo,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. They don't have the same functionality, but like Poker Atlas comes with the iPad at every table, and they have all these options. They were talking about it at the TD Summit, I believe yesterday or the day before, of adding an option for dealers to like kind of rate the table or alert the staff or whatever if there's misbehaving going on. so that the next dealer who comes can be aware and what seat, or so that the floor person can easily be alerted without like a tattletale mechanism.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. Unfortunately, like, you know, these two companies are at odds against one another. They don't collaborate.
Bravo does have the option for the tablet at the table, because the Bellagio cash games use the tablet at the table and they use Bravo.
Do they?
Yeah.
Huh. Why don't I remember that? Is that a new
It's
addition?
new. It's
Oh,
new.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
It
sense.
would almost be pretty nice too if there was like a tablet that just existed for the table that just had all of the rules on it. So like for a situation like this where there was like a clause that said you can play on live and live
Oh,
at the
no,
same
that's
time.
that's way too exhaustive. It's so much faster to call floor person.
Is it?
Yeah.
Imagine
there's
somebody
so many
going
rules.
through.
Oh my god.
Imagine
if they were
somebody goes
going
through
through
exact-
That's rule C-12.
You just type it. You just type
many
it.
rules.
What if? How long did it take for the floor to come to you?
The floor never came, but like, but
No,
we also
no, but
continued
you're
to play.
saying-
Like,
yeah.
imagine
Right.
she drops the deck and starts
Everything
going through a
stops.
fucking
The world
index.
stops, and like
She doesn't have to
they're
drop the
looking
deck.
through
Don't
a
drop
book.
the deck. Don't
that,
drop the
like,
There's
whatever.
mad rules.
It's
bro.
like
They can
a-
barely color up. Like they're not.
It's like a Fairly Odd Parents where they have like the rules and it's this big book of just every time they have like a question, they just stop the show and they just go to the rule book.
I love that you said the Fairly Odd Parents.
That's what it is.
I love the Fairly Odd Parents.
I can't believe I'm familiar with that show, but I am.
Is it practical to ever have virtual or remote floor people? via
I
the
don't
iPads?
think. I don't think
You
so.
FaceTime someone.
I think the context matters so much that having somebody being able to be there, it's weird, man. It's like you're in a courtroom and the floor person's the judge or the jury, and you have 8 witnesses that basically whatever the simple majority says happened is what they're going to go off of.
Okay.
And I think that matters a lot. I think it's
just the
pretty
voice of
important.
Jack Uffle from above, just speaking like, your hand is dead.
If you're calling 17, you're calling 22. Let's roll.
Oh, we have so much more to talk about. All right. So the next thing I want to get into really quickly is GG announced that they're going to create an integrity council. So effectively, from what I understand about the article, is they're just taking the lead on something that we've been asking for. I think that this is, well, let's talk about what it is first structurally. So effectively, the council is created of Jason Kuhn, Fedor Holtz, which are both GG,
GG.
not associates, ambassadors. Lucky Chewy, who is a part of Learn WPT.
Oh, let's go.
Seth Davies, who's a coach at Run It Once, and Nick Petrangelo. So all of them are now, I guess, a part of a small team,
They've
let's
created
say.
a coalition.
Yeah, a coalition where GG is going to basically defer to them or maybe seek their counsel in matters of cheating. Now, on one hand, I think that is absolutely asinine because you definitely don't want the players dictating who in their competitive pool is allowed to make a living at what they do any longer. There's too much conflict of interest there.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I understand, that's not what GG is necessarily saying, right? They're just saying like in close matters or whatever, they'll hear out the council, or if the council brings them proof or evidence.
Yeah.
they'll hear them out.
Also a group that's very well.
Totally
regarded.
honorable.
Yeah, like-
but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
you don't want to create a system that's
course.
very easily hacked.
Yeah.
And also, it already existed where all the online sites were policing themselves.
Uh-huh.
So it's not
Yeah,
like this
that-
council's necessary to
I
police.
don't know. That seems to not have been working that well. This
Well, we don't know.
policing yourself.
We don't
thing.
know who's getting banned. But what isn't working very well is the multi-accounting, obviously. People get
Yeah.
banned, they create other accounts, they just show up, right?
Yeah.
What's more interesting to me is that the article goes on to state that GG is collaborating with major tours such as WPT, WSOP, Triton Poker,
Nice.
and EPTs
Oh,
to
sick.
take their blacklist that the council creates and impart it upon these major live stops.
nice.
That is what I think is actually going to move mountains for the industry.
So it was WPT, Triton,
WSOP, EPT.
WSOP was in there.
Yep.
Yeah, they're listed.
Oh, good for
EPT
them.
was in there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, EPT already banned.
I know, but
EPT's not.
EPT's stars. and
EPT's not in there.
A lot of stuff is.
No EPT. Right in
Oh.
WPT, High
Yeah.
Stakes Poker, Poker Masters, Poker After Dark. So
Oh,
a lot
right.
of stuff on
PokerGo. Sorry. You're right. It was PokerGo, not EPT.
A lot of the PokerGo stuff, and then some other thing.
Yeah.
But EPT is part of PokerStars, right?
Right, but
Stars.
we already know EPT's the only one that's publicly came out and said, or I guess they didn't actually make a statement, but they
just
actually
did.
turned somebody away from the window.
Yeah.
We presume that Triton followed suit and banned them from going,
Right, but we
they
didn't.
never went, so we
right.
don't know for sure. We
They
can't
probably
confirm.
got through the back channels.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like the ones that we're most concerned with, WSOP, WPT, and PokerGo Tour, are all going to be a part of this council, or they're going to collaborate with this council and potentially push these bans onto the live arena.
Okay. I mean, that's great.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very important.
That's really good. Yeah.
What I don't know is how public any of this will be, right? Because now once you bring in our peers, I think that they can speak out. You can utilize them as talking heads to the community,
Yeah.
right? Like GG could never make a statement in and of itself and say like, we banned Ali for cheating, right? They can just generally say we've banned 40 accounts
Right.
for cheating.
But like,
But
Jason Kuhn could say
Kuhn
like,
could say that,
Jason Kuhn's like, well,
right?
the council has decided.
Right, like whether it's privately or
It is decided.
whether it's privately or publicly, I feel like some communication needs to be exchanged amongst all of these. And don't get me wrong, like on the back channels they are, right? Like
Yeah.
I talk to people all the time that are very open and forthright, but I can never divulge where my source came from. I can never throw them under the bus, and I never would, obviously. But you know, to some degree, we need to be more aware of who, or maybe we don't, honestly. If live games are getting policed, maybe we don't. Right? If WPT and WSOP are just turning the RTAers away, maybe we just don't need to know who it is. It's just not that important because they just die. They fall away. They have no way to make a living anymore.
At least
I
not
mean,
too
it
long.
does show good faith though that they're doing something. When
Agreed.
So like, it kind of need that.
I don't want it to be lip service, right? I don't want it to be an image of being proactive where nothing is actually taking place.
I understand that.
So I guess that's why I yearn for the communication. But again, this is very new. We haven't really heard a whole lot, so we'll hear more as it pours out.
So you're saying you don't want a lot of talking, but you want more problem solving.
That's right.
I
That's
trust
right.
that this is going to be a good thing for poker.
I think it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Not really sure where it lands. And also, speaking of a step in the right direction, a lot of good faith was shown by PokerGo after, you know, not months, but weeks of complaining. They did find a way to stream with whole cards shown the ladies event. Jay, great job.
Good job, PokerGo.
Hey, we support good things.
It's a marquee event on the calendar every single year. It's one that everybody wants to see alongside the seniors event, which unfortunately I don't think made the stream either. Go, Connor.
No, go.
Oh, you looked like you wanted to say something. So I think it's like really great, whether it came from the pressure of the outside or not. The fact that they pulled an audible and found a way to get this done was incredible. And honestly, they were rewarded by it because by streaming the ladies event, they were then already set up to handle Hellmuth making a final table in the 3K, which is huge. There's nobody there that wanted to miss that.
They had an emergency stream for Hellmuth's final table.
As they should.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
have to.
like there was not supposed to be a stream, but then Phil made final table like, oh, there's Phil. Like we're starting the stream. We already have it done, and they did it.
A lot of
That's
production
what he's
work
saying,
over
yeah.
time.
They got rewarded
really
for
good.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have missed it.
Right.
Or potentially would have missed it. I don't know if they would have set up right away.
Maybe
but
they would have stopped
They
and,
were
like,
already
got all
had
set
it. They
up.
had it ready to go.
Yeah, like production, they were working long days already, and then they extended that to bring that coverage. So that
It
was
made
great.
a potential good problem to have, i.e., Phil final table, easier with it already being done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because
We got
otherwise,
to
they
see
would
what a
have.
unicorn, huh? For
We did
one
get to see some
person
shit.
to make like just a final table, and they're like, okay, we're streaming you.
Yeah, but there's like 5 or 6 guys every summer that qualify for that. And honestly, it's even more because
It's good for the storyline.
it's great for the story. I think like had Foxen made an open field final table, having not won a bracelet yet, there's a really good chance they would have found a way to work that out. Same with
Right.
like someone like me or somebody like Pads won his first bracelet, so it didn't have to be the tag team, which they already planned on streaming. But
Yeah.
if it were something else, I'm sure they would have jumped over hoops to do so because these are the storylines that people crave, right? It's the guys that are going for record numbers of bracelets that we see year in and year out. The Negranus, the Hellmuths, the Merciers, the Seidel's, like they make final tables, the Ivies. That's huge. They need that. And then it's the other guys that have been long standing in this community.
Yep.
They're so desperate to win their first ones.
Right.
Those are the two storylines that they can cling to every single summer and guarantee ratings on.
Yeah.
But the other ones that they can also guarantee ratings on are the special events, the tag team, the seniors, the ladies event, the millionaire maker. These are going to be home runs 100% of the time. They're absolute must streams. They're what brings in the recreational audience. It doesn't have to be world-class play at these final tables. It's just the fact they're there.
Yeah.
The tag team I already talked about because we had such a rooting interest in Corey. But both that event and the ladies event, the atmosphere was so incredibly different than any other final tables that I've seen streamed. Like, it was fun and jovial and warm and welcoming. And yeah, there wasn't a lot of money up top in those two compared to all the other ones that are streamed. But I think that it was a moment in time for those that were participating, way more so than whenever you're watching a 250K final table or a 25K or even like the 3K that was emergency stream. Like, consummate professionals there. Nobody was like jumping out of their chair. I mean, we'll talk about the 3K a little bit. There was some shit that went down. I want to stick a pin in the 3K for 1 second though, because I do want to highlight like how big of a deal amplifying things like the ladies event and seniors event are.
Yeah.
The entire city makes a week out of this.
Yeah.
Right? It's like restaurant week in culinary towns. This is the meetup week for these certain sectors of our community that we want to pay homage to, we want to grow, we want to shine a spotlight on, right? The ladies event not only was one of the most popular turnouts that we've seen in years past, but one of the more popular streams and led to a massive meetup game at MGM. So I think like Jamie Hochstetler and WPT and Schwan and everybody who coordinated this meetup game at MGM deserve a huge thanks. As I saw, the list was like 170 deep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bobby at MGM.
They closed the room.
Yeah.
Bro, dead middle
Marty,
of summer.
Bobby.
Dead middle of summer. Their highest traffic all summer long. They closed the room for 4 hours to welcome in hundreds of female poker players to play in an isolated environment amongst themselves.
That's incredible.
It was a party.
Yeah.
It was an absolute party. We need so much more of that. And it doesn't have to stop with like ladies events. It can be like, I hate to target this audience, but like we need to do more to bring in the college crowd. There's so much meat on that bone. Not as like the idea of like, yeah, let's get their money, like let's get them into the system kind of thing, but more so like all of us started there, right? That was the entry point. I mean, for some it was high school, but like when you start taking the game seriously, it really is at that college level where you're hanging with your bros. It was always mixed company. I played with girls all the time in college.
So what do you think? Maybe like a small buy-in, have to be in college type event during that week?
Yeah.
There's also
type
an
of-
age issue, right?
Call it the frat party?
Majority of-
22?
Well, you could do 21 and over.
Yeah, I know, but majority of college students are.
When I say
18,
college,
19,
when I
20.
say college, I mean college age.
Okay, yeah.
So like
Right.
20,
Yeah.
under 26 probably.
Yeah.
Would be a good
21
cutoff.
to 26.
Call it 21 to 25. The real thing that you need to do is massively reduce the rake, right? So somebody needs to take a loss on it. And you need to just basically be able, because the only way that you can run low stakes is to take a loss on the rake.
It's like an investment.
Yeah, you can't run a $25 tournament and rake it.
Right.
Right. You just can't.
Right.
And we don't have the facility or space to do something like that here. So it's like I know that I'm shifting this away from the ladies event, but I think this is a way to bring in more women, right? Because when I think back to when I played in the most mixed crowds, it was at that age bracket. It was an interest to everybody at that point. You're young, you're discovering things, right? Like nobody's exclusionary and saying like to a 21-year-old female, like, no, you can't come play in our $10 home game.
Yeah.
I'm sure that happens, right? But like, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but like when I was a junior or senior in college and we're trying to round up games, if girls showed interest in that, like we were pumped for it. We were tired of hanging out with a bunch of dudes. Yeah. So I think like these events are really notable, and I think it also demonstrates a lot of interest, right?
Yeah.
At least whenever everybody's all in the same place. So
They should literally make like a week out of it and call it Festival Week and have a whole bunch of different themes and
Run
like,
It
they have
Up
tech-
used to do this.
What happened?
Run It Up used to do this
yeah.
with Run It Up Reno.
Shout out to
That
Run
was
It Up.
that was effectively their entire model. It was just make it a festival, and it was, reasonable rake. You guys obviously, I'm sure, didn't make a killing on it.
No.
But it was a big social gathering, right? And there were meetup activities outside of poker. There were a bunch of, they would do like Taiwanese games and
Yeah, man, I never went.
yeah, a bunch of games that, like, you know,
Piece of
nobody
shit.
plays.
That's why it's no longer going on right now.
Yeah, you weren't getting it popping.
I'm trying, just to
bring
let
it
you know.
back.
No, I'm trying right now. Not going to be able to do it this fall, but we're trying for 2023. Somerville gave me full license to do everything with Run It. Cross your fingers.
Yeah, I think stuff like that matters. All right, let's get to the shits. Let's talk about this 3K.
Oh man, Hellmuth did it again, man.
The man's the goat.
He's good.
The man's the
now
goat.
he's the goat.
Now he's the goat. Yeah.
Look, I'll give the guy his props.
Give the man his flowers while he's still alive, man.
I will give him his props where props are due. He navigates open field events better than most anybody I've ever seen.
Anyone, say it.
No. No. Because there's a qualifier to that. He does not play well at final tables. But I don't want to tear him down. I want to build him up before I start to knock his knees out.
It's like Jenga, you know, you got to build the Jenga tower before
Right.
you fuck up the Jenga tower.
Before it starts to get a little wobbly.
Yeah.
He builds those blocks, man.
He's a Jenga builder.
He builds those blocks. He navigates these fields. He is able to get through 1,000-person field like no one I've ever seen. It's impressive. His track record speaks for itself. Like, huge congratulations to Phil. I think that, like, he is going to break all WSOP records if he hasn't already. Like, I don't know what ones he doesn't hold, but
They're
think
they're gonna build a statue of Phil Hellmuth outside.
honestly, and they should.
WSOP.
And they should. Like, at no point am I trying to take anything away from what he's done.
They should have a Phil Hellmuth
A
statue.
fucking 6'7" statue.
Build the statue.
Matt's gonna build a statue.
Build the fucking statue. Kiss the ring. This man is the absolute best WSOP player I've ever seen in my entire life. Now for the caveat. He sucks so bad at no limit final tables.
Stop.
I've never seen someone stink it up. He stunk the joint up.
Stink it up.
He stunk
Big
the joint
stink
up.
energy.
Like, it was so ridiculously bad. And you know what? It all started with the fucking roast beef sandwich. It was
Yeah.
all downhill from
Oh
there.
my God.
Can we see
Do
that,
we have
please?
video of that?
We got the clip. This is repulsive.
This is just.
Oh, here's a roast beef sandwich.
No.
Coming in hot.
Is it even a roast beef
I
sandwich?
cringe every time I see
Food
it.
makes me laugh.
Oh my
What is this? What? What was that
The
bite?
commentary is
what
so
in the
good.
world? What,
Bro, that
he,
bite-
pulled
that bite,
the
he
buns
got, like,
apart and just
40,000
went
for that
straight
bite.
in on the roast beef. I've never seen that
Whoever
maneuver
sponsors
before.
him. Just like
Justin
they
Saliba
made
cannot
that
believe
clip
it.
even better because
I
they
mean,
just
what in
lost
the
their
universe?
mind.
You know, it was so.
What did we just see?
Man.
He fucking
Here's a
peeled
roast beef
the
sandwich
flap back
coming in hot.
and dug in.
My-
Double
Yeah,
tap.
well, that's
Okay,
what
so
they
here's-
say. You gotta.
Here's my issue. My issue is
Whoa.
your hands are not clean.
Holy shit.
That's your issue?
No, that's a big issue. That's a
Your
big, I have
hands
a
are.
big
Just
issue.
use a fork and a knife.
Gotta get.
That man.
Your hands are not clean.
That man just went apex predator shit on that roast beef sandwich, and you want him to use a fork and a knife? You think a lion cares about how clean its teeth are?
Lions are
I
cool.
kept thinking about how the cards and chips must be greasy.
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
God,
It's
yeah.
making the experience worse for everyone.
Look, he didn't eat the part that he touched.
No, he only ate the. He ate
It made the
through
experience
breast.
great
Peeled
for everybody
back the
watching it. I
lips
watched
and
that
then he went
live
right
and I
for the
almost
meat.
fell out of my bed,
Stop.
dying laughing.
Nobody
was
heard
so-
you. Brian was talking.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
No, don't worry about me. I just. He peeled back the lips and he went right for the. You know.
Yeah, sure, right. Yeah, honestly, he reminded me of a lion trying to get to the organ meat of a gazelle, like just head first into the carcass, coming back out with the
The
spoils.
commentary was really well done.
Just
on
wash
that.
your
Yeah.
hands, man.
It was-
In the world.
Yeah, it was so natural. Like, nobody's ever witnessed somebody eat a piece of meat that way.
Here's the thing, right? Like, I want to say he's self-aware that he knows what he's doing, but when he does it,
He doesn't look like.
it looks natural.
Yeah, like that's how he always
Yes.
eats. Like
This is
he's
like
getting
Galaxy
paid.
Brain
The
thinking to
irony-
himself, I'm going to eat through the middle of this burger right now, and
The
it's going to
irony
be
of
amazing.
it all. The irony of it all is that was the most aggressive thing That man did it. The final table.
Based. Fucking based.
That's
By
true.
10x.
That's true.
By literally 10x.
You're such a hater.
Bro, all right, let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, he got
Four-handed.
second. How much was second, Burke?
He got second. He got second sheerly due to being chosen by the fucking gods. He did
Again,
nothing to
right?
earn second place. He did everything to earn 5th, 6th, 7th place. I don't know where he should have busted, but anybody who comes in, he was 2 of 5 and found a way to get himself down to 4 of 4 because he hates money apparently.
He was
First hand we'll see blind versus blind, I believe. He has queen 10 on 997 versus chip leader. I can't remember his first name. His last name's Jackson.
David Jackson?
David Jackson. Yeah.
David Jackson.
He's
Is
a
this blind versus
button-down
blind?
No, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blind versus
Oh, it
blind.
is.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is.
Okay, blind versus blind. Jackson raises, Hellmuth peels
really
the queen
quick.
10 suited.
1 million,
All
2
that's
million.
good.
Lightning fast, pop it up.
10, 7, 9. Flop goes bet call
Those black
Hellmuth.
chips, as you likely
Turn
know,
9.
500,000
check.
each.
Or sorry, turn
chips,
turn 9. He bets 1 million.
100,000, and the
Hellmuth
green chips,
snap min
25K.
raises. Now what
the
we're going to see is
snap
Jackson
acting?
jam for not that much more. Hellmuth has
Surprised
less
to see
than
a raise
pot.
here, but
There's 6.2 million in the
Just
pot.
fell
With
maybe.
Jackson's 1 million call, that's 7.2
Very
million. He has
white
5
magic.
million
I'm not going to claim to
to win like 13.
know what Hellmuth is thinking
Snap
or
fold.
why he takes this
Yeah,
approach.
okay.
Snap fold.
But he thought he was
you
dead.
thought what?
He thought the guy had
Almost
a 9.
have to,
He's wrong.
have to
Okay,
assume
he's
that
fucking
there's
wrong.
value.
You've never been
Okay,
wrong.
he's
Jackson moves all
No.
in.
Oh, you think this was the only time he was wrong?
Whoa.
No, I'm just saying.
What a
like,
move.
He thought he had like very
We
little
can
equity.
see
He
on the
thought
screen
he was
Hellmuth is
going to 10.
I don't know
75%.
if the machine's going to be
but
a
he's
fan
wrong.
of this one.
Equity,
it's
but
not.
Okay, he was wrong, Burke. Okay.
let's listen
But
in if he's
there's
gonna
no
want him to
merit to
do?
the
Start
play
talking.
if you're wrong. Min raise folding here is legitimately not a strategic option. You,
I don't. Well,
He bet to find out where he was at.
well,
Yeah, he
for
found
what
out.
Click
it's
fold.
worth, I think raising in general
is just
in
not a
this
thing.
spot is
bad.
probably incorrect
Yeah. Of
as
course.
those stacks are.
This call.
Of course. But like raising is at least an option.
So good.
If you're gonna stack off.
Like normally when you think
Face
about
up.
doing something like this in the first
And he
place,
showed?
Yeah.
like
not
shows
only did
the
he
bluff.
show, but then Jackson windmills it in
Lift
his
off.
face so he can see the queen
We
high.
have liftoff.
Yes. Wait. So
Dunk on her.
And now we have to hear about how he would have had 20 million had he called off, and how this guy was trying to
Or he's
lose the
out.
tournament.
Or he's
kept
out. There's a
snap
percentage.
acting,
20% of the time he's out.
So what?
Just saying.
Let him be out.
That's fourth, not
The
second.
difference between
Chance for the bracelet.
what do you think his probability of getting second was after he folded there?
100%.
100%.
I think the chances Lamanna and Hellmuth are related somehow, somewhat.
They are cut from the
very
same
similar.
fucking cloth. Hellmuth is just a more successful version of the tortoise. Like,
Hellmuth is a tortoise.
yeah,
True
if
and true.
Lamanna had won a bunch of fucking events
Hellmuth
like the
is
first
not-
10 years of his
listen.
career,
Like there's a council of tortoises, and Hellmuth is the leader. And
Yeah, but it's just
Those
so-
meetings are so slow and so long.
hello everybody.
I was about to say Kessler is the jester, but maybe it's Lamanna.
Be like, today we're gonna talk about calling.
No, we don't do that.
no folding.
We fold.
Folding.
Okay, maybe that was an anomaly. Maybe maybe he learns his lesson.
Let's go to the next
I don't
one.
know. Let's see the
mean-
next clip, Guapo.
You know what?
Now with 3 people remaining,
Let's just let it fly.
we see a flop of 7-4-6 in a blind versus blind scenario.
Is that a good turn
No,
card
what?
for his hand?
What?
I mean,
wait, hold
the last
on.
time something like this happened-
Pause it for a moment, Guapo.
Jackson?
This action went. I believe it went.
check down.
I think. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out pre-flop. I think it went raise call by Hellmuth.
Go back to the clip.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure it went Jackson raised, Hellmuth called. Flop goes check check. Turn Jack of Diamonds. Go ahead, click that play
Jim,
button there, Guapo.
bet.
Let's see
Wins.
what happens next.
Insta
Tap,
mid
tap.
raised,
Are we sure
then
flop
Jackson
went check,
moved
check?
all in.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, okay.
It did go check.
Let's see what happens next.
I wonder
Jackson here.
what the approach will be.
He has a
this time.
double gutty. He's gonna fire.
You can just open
No,
ended.
you open under, yeah.
5-minute warning.
Well, he's got a bet. He has a double gutter. He is 5 high.
And he's got a spade. Spade's great.
He has no options.
gonna get
Yeah, the
snapped.
man has to bet.
He did.
Well, the
Yo,
last
stop
time he
using
got
that
snap
tone, bro.
raised.
Don't tell me what to do.
He's gonna bet.
Don't tell me what to do. What's the wager here? What do we see?
Okay, there is no snap call here.
Okay,
but
pot.
Actually, Hellmuth acts
Faces
pretty
pot.
quickly.
We got top pair with the second best kicker. What
And
are we
you
gonna
turned
do?
it.
Don't look at your hands in absolute.
Oh, tell me what you would do, Christian.
Is that real?
No!
The way he looked at that hand is just like, oh, yeah.
There wasn't even any
What in the
hesitation.
fuck?
There
So-
wasn't even any hesitation. This
That's
guy
how sure he
stinks.
is. That's how sure he is. that
He
shit.
wasn't even
You're
mad.
right. No, hold on. You're right.
He is.
That's how sure he was.
Right.
He folded.
Not saying it's right. He was so sure that it was right. That
He
he's just like,
folded so confidently
So
But maybe
Easily.
that's what it takes.
so
versus a
easily.
hand that was dead.
He did
I
that
can dodge bullets,
so many,
baby.
He did so many snap calls and snap folds, like so confidently wrong.
There was another one where he called river with king high versus Jackson.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the clip
And he
fast enough.
tables the flush.
Just dead wrong. Stone wrong. And it's like, I'm not trying to overemphasize that he's wrong. I'm trying to overemphasize that he is theoretically incorrect in every decision he makes, and he's wrong.
right, right. Like if Jackson has a set there, you're saying the exact same thing.
Well, I'm saying
You're
that
not going like,
theoretically.
oh my God, he's a genius.
Correct,
People are
correct.
going to say, oh my God, he's
Yeah.
a genius.
Well, listen,
right?
listen.
But you're going to be on saying like,
No.
he should never fold there.
If Jackson has a set there, I would say he's theoretically wrong to fold. 100%. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that
made
Hellmuth
a
is
read.
Hellmuth and something
made it
He has
triggered
a
his
read
spidey
or
sense.
something.
But you should give him the benefit of the doubt anyway. He keeps winning.
No.
Why?
Because luck is a fucking thing, man.
Okay, but you think he doesn't do this throughout the tournament all the time?
Yes, and I do think that with many, many people left, this does a very good job
Yeah.
of
But at FTs,
serving
it's
him.
not.
Okay, but he has to play his game. You can't expect him to like.
But what I'm
switch-
saying
this
is,
this is him.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think he's the best open field, no limit hold'em or just general tournament player the WSOP has ever seen. I think he's one of the worst final table players I've ever seen in my entire life.
But he has the most seconds and the most firsts.
because if you're
You can't say that.
Because if you can get through these fields more better than anybody else, you're going to put yourself in a position
Exactly,
to get lucky,
right?
Like and get down and win it
Precisely.
and get second and get third over and over again. If you're always in the top
Precisely.
15.
But when we see variance correct, you're going to see him start to have the most ninths and the most eighths of anybody ever.
Still good.
I think
it's
there is
not
something
that
to
good.
be said for that strategy being very good in earlier stages, though.
Yeah, no, I
The
wholeheartedly agree.
overfolding and the
Listen.
acting quickly.
I would pay good money to let Hellmuth navigate day 1 and day 2 for me.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I would love to have Phil Hellmuth as my tag team partner.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, a dream.
Phil, you want to play day 1, day 2?
A dream.
Bro, all you, man.
And
if
then
I
you take
do,
over the final table.
I'll only play final table.
If
And
every
even then, I'll
event in the
consult
world
you.
became a tag team and I could hire him to be my day 1, day 2 guy, I would pay him 2x markup.
Yeah.
But the day I let him touch a fucking card inside 18 people,
The disrespect is crazy. The man has the most wins. Like, what are you saying?
what are you saying, man?
He has the most wins and the most seconds. How are you saying, oh, don't let him touch a chip? Are you crazy? You shouldn't let him touch a chip. No. Are you, like, he has the most wins and the most seconds.
We have
What
to
are you
erase that
saying?
down.
Stop speaking in such
It's
hyperbole.
disrespect.
1989 was a very soft time.
No,
he was ahead of the
no.
game for
Don't
decades.
talk like 1989. Like,
We have to erase 10 years.
Hold
There's
on,
like
hold on.
5
I can read through the
entries.
bracelets that he has, okay?
Go ahead.
no,
First
read
one-
through the seconds also.
1989, well, this only has the first. Let's start with the first. 1989, the main. He won that
How many
for
entrants does it say?
755K. So small,
Who cares?
small main.
Honestly, like before you go into that, like I will absolutely acknowledge that for the better part of his career, he was a huge favorite in the field.
Agreed.
He's just not anymore.
So, okay, 1992, 5K limit hold'em. 1993, 1500 no limit hold'em. 93, 2500 no limit hold'em. 3 bracelets in a year?
93 was a good
93,
year.
5K limit hold'em. 97, 3K pot limit Omaha. Pot limit hold'em, sorry. Pot limit hold'em.
R.I.P.
2001,
pot limit hold'em.
2001, 2K no limit. 2003, 2500 limit. 2003, 3K no limit. 2006, 1K no limit. 2007, 1500 no limit. 2012, Raz. 2012, Europe. He won the no limit hold'em main event. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an
Okay.
asterisk. Go on.
2015, 10K 7 card Raz. 2018, 5K no limit. And then
Turbo.
2021, 1500 no limit low ball draw.
One no limit hold'em bracelet in the modern era.
After
Yeah, I
2000.
mean,
And it was
you
a
definitely
turbo.
see that
He got
getting
two.
more scattered, but
He got one in
the fields are also
2007 and
smaller.
one
Sorry, I'm talking post Black Friday. So when I say modern era, I mean like modern theory era. He has one bracelet in No Limit Hold'em, and it was a fucking turbo.
A lot of wins though. He does got a lot of wins in other things.
He has a lot of wins. They're also,
no, of course.
Like nobody's arguing that pre Black Friday he wasn't absolutely one of the best in the world.
Nobody's arguing at like poker. Yeah. Like we're arguing that like in this era of No Limit, it's just effectively a different game when you get to like the higher stakes.
He's a giga whale at final tables.
Yeah.
A giga whale. Like, sure, in a hyper turbo, he'd be fine because like these mistakes are only worth like fractions of a blind.
Mm-hmm. But when a jack is worth a lot.
Yeah, bro, they're 40 blinds deep.
It's
more.
It's worth a lot.
More.
It's okay. It's okay.
He's grouping everybody at these final tables into the like bucket of like the people who he should be overfolding to.
Yeah.
And
like
then
out
like
of his
the
last
reality.
So what you're saying? Sorry,
the people at the final table are a lot more studied and are bluffing correctly, and he should not be overfolding to them. So
madness.
It's almost at a point where like the spots where you get to be the person on the side of aggression and like overfold when you face reactions kind of disappears when you're playing against other people who do take the initiative, where you have to play on the passive side of the game tree, and playing on the passive side of the game tree normally loses chips. Right. So like you have to start making these thinner calls, in some cases just easy calls.
But
like
honestly,
this jack.
it's so disrespectful. He's
it's
basically
disrespectful
like you're saying I'm disrespecting him. He's disrespecting his opponent so much that he's open folding top pair twice. Basically telling this guy like you're incapable of bluffing, and the guy windmills a bluff in his face both fucking times.
Yeah, but then he swings the way opposite direction, starts snap calling rivers versus this guy when he has it.
Right. He just demonstrates an emotional profile that is just like, not very.
It seemed almost like with the snap acting, he was trying to tilt his opponent.
Yeah.
But like because he was
Old
wrong.
men do this all the time.
Yeah, but because he was wrong, he was tilting himself.
Look, I'll tell you right now, if you are above the age of 48 and you act instantaneously against me, I'm going to continue to fire. Yeah. Whether I value or bluff, you can bet your ass you're going to keep getting shells, so trap me.
Yeah.
Because I am not slowing down. Yeah. This happened to me in like one of the early events. I think it was the 3K 6 max. I had an older recreational gentleman to my left, and I open ace jack suited under the gun. He calls, another guy calls, and it comes like queen 9-7, checks to him. He instantly bets, folds back to me, and I have a gutty and a backdoor, or just backdoors, whatever. I raise, and he like snap calls, and I'm just like, that's not a good hand.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what he has. Yeah. Probably a queen.
Any thought.
But it's definitely not a set. It's definitely not two pairs. So I just don't care.
Well, if it's snap call and he's staring at the place where the next card's coming, it's a draw.
Right.
Hey, stop giving me the secrets. Hey.
So it turns to 10.
Just kidding.
Turns to 10. Pretty good card for me. I'm open ended now. I bet like half pot. Again, instantly calls. It's just like he's just trying to freeze me so bad.
Turbo call.
River is a 6, putting a one-liner to the 8. I never have an 8, guys. Never have an 8.
He never has an 8.
All in. Instantly folds king queen face up. And it's just like, like I was just always winning this pot. Yeah. Like you're acting so fast because you want me to stop.
Yeah, he has no plan either.
Right. Right. So it's just like, that's Hellmuth in a nutshell. He's only operating on the psychological emotional spectrum.
Yes.
And there's just no actual theory running through his brain at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
If there was, he would take more than half a second to act.
Right. You have to think about poker.
You have to think about what's going on.
Right. He's just so programmed. And whatever, like, I didn't want to turn this into a slander because, like, again, I think it's insanely impressive what he's done. Remarkable.
Guy's a 16-time champ.
Remarkable.
Respect the 16-time champ.
Remarkable. I just think like we can admit now, like he should shift into mixed games. Like No Limit is certainly not his best game. And like Ivy, you don't hear Ivy like complaining, being like, "Nah, I'm an M-bot." First of all, he is. This guy's fucking good, right? Like he doesn't make these errors at final tables. Sure, he makes some ICM blunders, but at least they're aggressive, right? This guy is fucking good at No Limit Hold'em. Everybody will say Ivy's worst game is No Limit.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we want Hellmuth to shift into anything? Please play No Limit Hold'em.
Oh, no, yeah, of course. I'm just saying, like, for the legacy's sake, if he wants to get to 20, 22, whatever, bro, stop trying to sell the 100K at markup. Like, you are minus 5% in those fields, maybe more. Maybe more.
I have to see the final table.
Honestly, I don't know if would you buy him at 0.93 in 100K? No.
And I gamble.
Yeah,
right. You wouldn't even put it on the tab.
I wouldn't even put it on the fucking tab.
He would not put it on the tab.
He
king jack.
Bro, it's just like it's not a thing. But you know, he takes his lumps, man. Like, God bless the man. He gets up there. He does it every single day. He has to listen to idiots like me on the mic, just tearing
And
him
the
apart.
rail,
No,
too.
he also has to listen to people in person.
Yeah, he has to listen to
was-
Big Huey on the rail.
I wasn't even talking about Huntington. I was talking about other people. The people were just like the entire crowd, because I was there. I was sweating. I had a friend that was still in, and it was like 50-50 of Hellmuth lovers and this guy is the worst thing in the world. So every time he won it all in, there was uproar. Like, and then when Phil won, he would like run around and like do the fist pump thing, and half the crowd would be like, "Let's go, Phil!" Like, bracelet number 17, and the other half is like, "Go home, Phil! Like, we'll see you later."
Honestly, like watching that made me think maybe they should make the rail bigger. Like,
So this is a good conversation, I think, to end on, because I don't really know what my takeaway is here. I remember writing a blog post. I'm going to see if I can find it and share it today on Twitter. But I wrote it after my 2011 final table, where it was very late. So the 2500, we've made the final table at probably like way too late, like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., something like that. And we got down to 6, and now it was in the waning hours of the morning. So it was like 2:30 in the morning. And at this point, my rail was blacked out drunk.
yeah,
LaMatta was there.
It was 10 deep. LaManna was in form,
Rare
man.
form.
He was in form.
Yeah.
You were
exactly
in
right.
I wish we
ultimate
had some
tortoise mode.
video footage or something.
Me too. Oh, I desperately wish we
Jeno
did.
definitely has it.
He was
Somewhere.
blacked out. O'Brien was blacked out. Mercer,
Oh my
like my
God.
friend from college was there. Everybody was blacked out. And on the other side, across, I was in the 8, and in the 3 was Mitty, Thomas Middleton. So the Brit rail was over there, and
I
they
think
were
I met him
blacked
the
out.
other night.
And they're drinking. This is where the shoe bomb first was initiated. Matthew Perrins almost got thrown out for drinking beer out of a shoe. They're soccer chanting. We're belligerently shouting back.
Yeah.
And the 6 of us that were left playing, there wasn't a single downtime of silence. And for, I would say, probably 4 of them, it was the most miserable experience of their life. For me and Mitty, I've never been happier.
Yeah.
It was
You got the
so
doors behind you. Yeah.
It was so
That sounds
fucking
really
cool,
fun.
man.
Yeah.
It was like being a professional athlete in like a soccer stadium. It
Right.
was so cool.
Wow.
I feel like that's sort of I got a taste of seeing that last night, because they were really loud on the rail and stuff. And I feel like we always say how poker is not a spectator sport, but I really think it could be. Like,
It definitely
there's
could
like
be.
Yeah.
people really get so hype on these rails. Like when I was playing the ladies event, the screaming at the FT of a not even televised event was like insane.
I had so much fun at Corey's fucking final
Yeah,
table.
like the
But we're all
chants
talking
and
about, with the exception of me, who was actually playing in that environment, the rest of us are all talking about from the spectator side and from the viewer side and the optics and everything else. What if you're a player, though? Right? This is big money.
Yeah.
This is during that rail, there were people in like day 2 of a PLO event
Yeah.
that were trying to get everybody kicked out because they said we were being so disruptive.
Yeah.
So it's just like this is kind of the problem we face, and I honestly don't know where my opinion like younger me that wrote that article was 100% for this. Like, I think we should just have belligerent drunks in the stand. Like,
Well, maybe we just move the rail back a little bit from the table. It is kind of close to the table.
it's definitely close.
You put a little more space between the rail and the table, and then make the stands a little bit bigger. Add some bleachers and stuff. Like,
Maybe it's possible to do it similar to golf, right? Where we just have an attendant in front of the Thunderdome with a quiet please sign while a hand is
It's
taking
funny
place.
because I was literally
I like
thinking,
that a lot.
I was thinking we need like more like Happy Gilmore types, right? Like, cause
Yeah.
like it's like, oh, be quiet, and then he's there like, come on, everybody, make a little noise, let's go. Like, you got people coming in with beer balls.
But the
and,
problem
like,
is
got the
he's
wave
individualized in
going.
golf, right?
Right.
So he's not disrupting anybody else. But like, if say I'm in a hand versus you, and I go that route of like, nah, fuck this quiet guy, please, let's hear it. That's very unfair to you.
yeah.
Right? So
Right.
we definitely would have to uniform some sort of etiquette and behavior. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure what it is.
Well, it's gonna be also very difficult to do that when most people are just hammered out of their
Well,
mind.
but it is like it becomes like a party on the rail, and I feel like that is an experience for
No, it'd be
people
cool.
too.
Yeah, like,
but
I'm
I think
for
that
it.
maybe the table is just a little too close to the rail.
When we were coming up, it was a thing. Christian can talk about it. He kind of spoke about it in the Results May Vary vlog that we did a few years back. But when we were in our come up, when somebody made a final table, like we were there in droves.
Yeah.
When
Every
Phil
time.
Collins made his run in the main event, we went on day 5. He like
Phil
won
Collins,
this
the
big pot and he just
musician?
laddered up the chip lead, like close to the chip lead, and we just all went there with a case of beer in our book bags.
Fucking Golak showed up with a 12 pack the other day.
Then every day, day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9, we were there at noon with 40s in paper bags, just getting hammered.
Brian, they were literally tailgating the main event.
That's great.
So you guys could feel it coming in the air
I
tonight,
support
basically.
that.
We could
Like
feel
that
it
just
coming
wouldn't
in
happen
tonight.
now.
No,
I support
but it was
that.
I made
amazing.
day 5 last year, and it was just like same with Conrad. It was like a non-event, and that was the biggest thing that's ever happened in Conrad's career. We treated it like
just started.
Yeah, I understand.
It was like 7 weeks in, man.
Yo, you're not young.
Yeah,
I mean, what can I say?
But
You're
like we treated it as
50.
a non-event because now we're so over it. It's like, are you at the final table yet? No. Okay. Who cares? Nobody wins these things. You know. I yearn for those days of the past where it was so novel to even make a run.
Yeah.
That everybody had to celebrate it.
It
know?
is like that. It's
I
just
think
not
it's still like
for
that a
pros.
little bit.
Like
It's
when
only
you're,
like that
when
for
you're
the
a
things that
veteran
matter.
pro, you just don't. You just know that you're likely not to win. So we're just like, okay, let me know when you're at the final table.
Yeah, let me know when
it's
you
like there's
win.
27 left. You know how many times you lose
Yeah.
ace king to 9s here?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like we've seen this story so many times. But if you're new to the game and there's 27 left, you're texting everybody.
You know what I
like,
will
yo,
say? You know what I
so
will say
sick.
though? I was watching like the final couple tables of the 3K freezeout, and like Phil had to be all in a couple times here and there, and like every all in from like 27 down.
He was like legit forced
He was
all
just
in?
completely the most animated person I've ever seen. Just everything was so important.
Yeah.
Like obviously like other people's like 27th. It's like, oh, like you lose, like, oh, like good game or whatever. Like he was just running around. People were spectating, like, let's go Phil. Like
Yeah,
it
but
was the
that's-
entire thing. Like he came with the homies, and like the homies were just like, oh, like, we want to see Phil win again.
Yeah.
And he was,
I mean, that's
just
kind of what
loved
we're
it.
saying though, like where it's good with bad, right? Like I think he sacrifices a lot of strategy to be that emotional.
Yes.
And that's unfortunate for his game, but it's
Yeah.
great for us as spectators.
Yeah.
Guapo, cut to the clip real quick of what was going on
There
with
it
the rail.
is.
The reason I bring this up
guys,
is because how much policing should we have? Like, if this is not Phil Hellmuth, does he have the same? Like, does somebody else have the same leeway to say get these guys
What's
out of here?
happening?
I mean, but he is Phil Hellmuth.
here
So
we go.
that does come with some perks.
All right, action is
Agreed.
underway. Trying to listen in on some
I
of
mean,
this.
it's cool to scream Phil's a bitch, but not when I'm at a final table.
Yeah, that's not cool though.
I think he was being completely reasonable.
Yeah, you
personally.
can't say
Jackson
like
has
Phil's a
surged
bitch,
now. We'll
like,
see,
you can't while he's playing.
We'll see
That's
how much
kinda
bobbing
nuts.
and weaving Helmuth does. Listen, no one.
Floor. Hey, come on. What is going on over here? What? I mean, why am I always complaining? Because guys like you call me a bitch.
Not a lot of problems.
Out
Because you
loud.
called me a bitch. Like,
Oh, you
I think he was being
apologize now?
completely reasonable.
I mean, yeah, because
line,
he's not
right?
like there's a line
You just said
that you have to draw.
Phil Hellmuth is a bitch. And then this guy over here is talking about Phil Hellmuth dressed like a Spice Girl.
He did look like a
Spice Girls have
bumblebee.
entered the
Bratty
chat.
Spice is in the
What
building.
is happening?
I do think that he was well
Who's your
within his
favorite
rights.
Spice Girl
gotta
in the
get
chat?
security.
Especially because, like, you know, maybe it wasn't really known to everybody at the time, but like his wife was there.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to heckle players while they're at the final table. That's just sort
Agreed.
of like not
Especially,
a good,
like,
it's not a good precedent to set. Like,
Yeah, and
I
curse
mean,
words and
the
vulgarity
Spice Girls
towards
thing was
somebody.
funny, but
I kind of disagree, honestly. Like,
Really?
If you think of like, this happens all the time at like basketball
Football,
games.
basketball.
Correct. Like, this is just what fans do.
Yeah.
That's how you
The
The
inject.
problem is we pay to be there, and they get paid to be there.
No, I get that there's different dynamics for sure, but you know, we're always talking about having more personalities and how it sucks that we aren't able to showcase how rich poker is. And if we want those personalities in here, it comes at the cost of the professionalism
Yeah.
on
Makes
the
sense.
front end.
I can see that.
I mean, if that's the case, I'm with it.
And
Conrad,
that's why
you're very with it. Remember, you made some people unhappy when I when this has up
Put
in the
him in a
Venetian
body
tournament.
bag.
I was in a Venetian tournament, and Conrad just screaming from the rail, "Put this guy in a body bag!" It's like,
Yeah, we had to do what we had to do, man. You know.
and we
And
won.
did you put him in a body bag?
No, I just won.
He wrapped his ass
He
up in a
zipped
body
that shit
bag.
up for sure.
I had to I switched to classical music. Yeah,
There was a
over
bit of
from
a fair catch taking place in that scenario.
yeah, it's weird. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want people accosting Phil Hellmuth.
Right.
And I do think that there needs to be something done with it. But in terms of in the middle of the hand, could you imagine saying like, okay, you can't use the stream bangers for free throws anymore,
They did that for a while.
and it's ridiculous.
They actually did ban them for quite some time. They would prevent people who sat behind the hoop from having like any
From
sort
waving
of
the things.
any sort of wavy thing or any sort of like clapper thing, whatever.
And now they're everywhere.
Yeah, now it's just a thing.
But there is a line, because if you say like, oh, we're allowing vuvuzelas inside of the the
Yeah, yeah.
rails, it's just like, all right, guys, like I can't deal with
Right.
that shit.
There's
I also
obviously,
think
like,
that the
in
point,
big lines that-
I don't know if it was Conrad or Landon made, but like the point that those players are being paid and we're paying to be there is a very, very big one. So I think for us to create this more animated version of poker that would be enjoyable to watch, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it adds a certain psychological element to the game that's detrimental to the players. We have to be compensated.
Yeah.
Like you just can't allow that without some sort of there needs to be some understanding of compensation then
Yeah.
for the players,
'Cause
whether that means
you're an entertainer at that point.
yeah,
Not for nothing. That's a great idea.
Maybe
Because like that would make poker so much more enjoyable to watch.
Right.
And like that would get views up. That would
Right,
get
like-
more contracts. That
like
would do-
when it should have happened was pre-Black Friday
Yeah.
when everybody at that table was making six figures in patch deals.
Yeah.
You're being
Exactly.
compensated now. Like you better just deal with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
shouting and the noise.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But you don't even need it at the final table. It's such an advantage. Let's say I'm playing in a tournament and I hire Conrad just to like fuck
You
with-
hire a heckler?
Yeah.
You would be a great professional heckler.
Yo, you could be like the top that
The
way.
problem is that
Back
it's
to
so,
Happy Gilmore.
it's so it's so disruptive because you're not just in an isolated room with you and that table.
Of course.
It's hundreds, if not thousands, of other people that you're
course.
disrupting. I'm with you, man. I'd love to create the sporting atmosphere. I just think we have to be very delicate about how.
I
we
do
approach
too.
it.
I think the solution, there's a potential solution that a lot of people will see, and it's just like, okay, ban all this shit altogether. And that clearly cannot be the right way to go
Right.
forward.
No.
Yeah.
Man,
if you
what
turn
if-
this into chess to that extreme, we're gonna go the way of chess.
I really think it would be fine if I could see it at some point being a bigger thing. The table is like in the center and there's like a big amount of space between the rail and the table. There's like, they can see it on the screens and everything. But then it's like, if there's bigger crowds and they're further away, it's more just noise.
You've
It's
never, obviously you haven't. You never went to a November 9 final table, huh?
No.
Incredible experience. It was in the Penn and Teller Theater. So it would seat, 1,000 maybe?
Yeah, at least.
Give or take. Stadium seating,
Yeah.
or theater seating. And then behind the main table, everybody was allowed, I think, like 5 or 6 tickets of family members. So there was like 50 people,
Yeah.
sort of Thunderdome style, seated there. The place was a riot.
I think it should,
That sounds awesome.
that's how
Yeah,
it should be. Like,
It was such a fucking cool
because
atmosphere.
then the individual voices are not that big of a deal. It's just sort of a sea of noise.
It
That's
was-
what, that's
it
what
was-
video game events are like.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, and they have. Well,
No, they had them like for when I was like in high school and I got to play video games and stuff. I went to an event, and at the event, like the players played in these little soundproof boxes and like would talk to each other and be able to communicate because it was for Call of Duty. And then the people that were there to watch were just like extremely belligerent and rowdy, like spectating from like a big screen. But the players couldn't hear the spectators because they had the headphones with the soundproof.
That could be a
soundproof
potential.
booth
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there's ways to get around like
Yeah.
all of the
Who
heckling
owns
noise
the
from a player perspective.
Who owns the HyperX Arena? Is it MGM?
I think there's a big lion on it.
Luxor, so yeah.
It's the one on
Yeah,
Luxor,
it's
right?
Luxor, There's
Yeah.
a big
That
BetMGM lion on there. Yeah.
Caesars, I thought, had an esports arena also. No,
Not that I know of.
No?
Not
Okay.
that I know of.
I thought there were multiple in the city. Maybe it's
The
just.
only difference would be that like the final table, like the table itself, would kind of have to be sort of enclosed.
Well, have
maybe?
you seen the what did I just say? The one at the Luxor.
HyperX Arena?
Yeah, the HyperX Arena.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's really dope. They have a raised platform
The
stage.
WPTs have been played there.
Well, yeah, some of the not the final tables, the cash games.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's really dope. They have like a 180 panel of LEDs
Nice.
on a lifted stage where the table is, and it's what you were saying. It's far away from the audience, but they have seating for probably a couple hundred.
I thought they paused the WPT at 6 and then move it there.
Maybe I thought it was in the PokerGo arena.
No, is that HyperX?
It was
that
okay.
HyperX? Yeah, the WPT.
Well,
from
probably
Florida?
actually it probably matters what casino it's coming from. If they're MGM affiliated, then it's probably HyperX.
Yeah. And then
If it's not, then it's
yeah.
probably PokerGo.
Yeah, the WPT was for HyperX.
Yeah, but yeah, it's really cool. It's maybe the next evolution of like what this could potentially be. I imagine that they could create something, maybe not the same at Paris and Bally's, but you know, something a little bit better than what we see with the Thunderdome. Because I do agree. I think it's like,
So like these
It's
too
too
enclosed.
small.
these
Yeah, and
events
it's too
go
close.
hard.
if
for,
one
like,
person can call you a bitch,
and you can
hear it and get mad
you
about
can talk
it, yeah.
back to them.
Yeah,
It's like
it's too
that's
small.
too close. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like for these other events for like gaming, like they're massive events that people will go to watch and like spectate and like scream and do whatever. But the players can't hear other player like people in the stands call them a bitch.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
All I know is Hooney's starting to be my favorite person ever. The other
He's
day he
wild,
asked that
man.
Martin guy, "Have you ever been in a fight before?"
That was some funny shit.
I want to go really quick back to the time where it was you and the English guy.
Mitty, yeah.
Yeah, Mitty. And the other 4 people are just miserable.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of like back in the day when I would travel for soccer. And I would play against some team's home field. And they just have like a fucking huge crowd.
Yeah.
And I have 4 people on our side.
Yeah.
And it feels terrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
But that's just like
That's what it is.
this is the
There's certain
That gets you
elements of it
riled
though.
up.
There's certain elements of it though that like back then I was able to get past because I wasn't that technical and I didn't view the game that way and I was happy to be in that environment. But thinking back to it, like we couldn't hear bets. We legitimately could not hear bet sizes. So you were forced to visualize
Count
everything,
it.
which was fine. I honestly, for me as a live guy, like that's fine. I will always be able to see the bet, or not always, but most of the time be able to see the bet.
Yeah.
I'll be able to see the stacks. But as I get older, I pay less and less attention. I'm on my phone a little bit more. You know, like I could see me getting crabby as fuck if the 9 seat was 3 betting and I'm in the 1 and didn't see it, and there's a
Yeah.
roar of people going on. And I'm like calling the original open, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I think there's a delicate balance there that we need to strike, but I can't explain how memorable that moment is. It's a bigger memory to me than going deep in the main event. It's a bigger memory than me than final tabling the super high roller. Like it was such a cool environment that was as close to being an athlete as I've ever felt in my life.
Right.
Which I don't know, maybe not everybody wants that, but
I think it's cool.
it was interesting. It would have been great to have on tape.
Yeah, and then it's like something that people want to go to because it becomes a social event.
Yeah.
And well, isn't it? It's also kind of like part of if you have friends that come out to support, like that's an advantage, right? Like having people in your corner is
Like
definitely
a home
an
field
advantage.
advantage kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like, but it's a neutral playing ground, right?
Right.
Like anyone can go to Bally's and go to the Thunderdome and like root their friends on. And like if you have a bunch of friends that you're connected to and close with that come to support you and are like kind of rowdy, kind of nice, like that's what makes sports so fun from a spectator perspective. Like if you want poker to be a fun spectator sport, that sort of leads into
Yeah,
it.
let
But if
people-
you start removing that and being like, oh, like it's a very classy, like no one gets to
Yeah,
speak,
come
final
on.
table kind of thing, then it's a different kind of
We're
game.
gambling.
Right, we're gambling.
gambling.
We're a bunch of animals. Like we want to just have fun, you know? Like it's a very fun environment, and you can make it what you want within the rules and guidelines that can take place. Because if you're too loud or too whatever, like there's obviously exceptions where someone comes in and is like, hey, like you're being a little too loud, and then if you don't follow that, you get like kind of a timeout or whatever, and then like
Get a
you get
timeout.
removed. Like fans get ejected from stadiums.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yellow
kind of
cards
thing.
and red cards. It happens
Yeah.
all the time.
Like
There's
fan-
plenty of security guards there.
like Malice at the Palace, like that was wild.
Yo, leave my man Ron out there.
That was
How did we get to
wild.
Palace at the Palace?
Couple PSAs. One, WSOP just tweeted 911 message to players. WSOP will make every effort to sit all players for what may be a record main event. We urge anyone that's able to play 1B or 1C tomorrow to play those for the best experience. 1D is expected to be a massive requiring
Oh my God.
10-handed
This is
play.
so brutal.
It's so
We
hard.
shouldn't have typo
Why
Conrad
is
do
Conrad writing this?
No, there's typos in this, so I'm trying to fix it.
In short,
It's gonna be
They do
10-handed.
They do this every year though.
yeah, but this is almost certain to be a record-breaking.
Maybe
field.
I'll play tomorrow.
Yesterday got what,
instead then.
2,500?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
2,500.
Yesterday got
Yeah.
2,200.
2,200 for
Right there.
1A.
They usually get like 800.
That's huge.
That's unprecedented.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
2,200 for 1A
What?
for the main event.
No,
do you
900
mean,
people.
what?
Where do you guys get
The
this
main
information?
event.
What the
It was
fuck? What are you talking about?
2,200 entries for day 1A
Of the main event?
of the main event, Brian.
900.
Where did the tortoise
What?
look?
Wagers on the line.
Oh,
Let's
baby.
go. How
Hey,
much? How much?
Bet,
Hundred?
bet.
Put your phones
Tortoise,
down.
100?
How much?
Phone down.
100 tortoise?
No, I'm just gonna be
100
right.
All right,
100
50.
tortoise.
50. I got over
100
2K.
tortoise.
He has over
I mean,
2K.
I don't know. I'm looking at Poker News. If Poker News is wrong,
900 probably bagged.
Yeah.
No, 600,
658 bags.
680. Yeah, you think 680
Brian's
bags out of
right.
22?
Brian's
I'm
right.
definitely on Brian's side if
No,
only
Brian's
600
right.
bagged.
I'm on Brian's side now that I think about it twice too, but I definitely saw
It
2,700.
said, it said 900,
900
players.
people.
900 players took the felt, and then 600 and something bag. Like
Yeah,
630.
I don't
That's- okay, that's standard. That's on
I
par.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
that is
normal.
usually, yeah, that's normal. Usually, that's more than what it usually is. It's usually
Barely,
around
though.
5 to
Usually
8.
8, but it's
Yeah.
fine.
I don't know where these numbers came from, but
yeah,
I did
where
see.
the
I
hell did
saw.
you guys
I
get
saw
2200?
22.
I saw it on W.
If I
Look,
was
I see
calling
it right
17,
here.
I was calling
Look,
22.
guys, I'm
Let's
looking at it
roll.
right now.
What'd you
Entries
say?
2145, remaining 631.
Oh, I know why.
That's
That's people who
combined.
pre-bought.
That's pre-bought and combined and everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's all the days combined.
I was like,
They were misleading us.
That's
Yeah.
that's a reasonable mistake.
yeah, I had
We're
to
not
set
going to
that straight
crucify
because
you
I was
for
like,
that one.
there's no way. I mean, if they got 2,200 for the first day, I mean, you're looking at like 15,000
Yeah, y'all ain't
people.
crucifying me for this.
So how many are registered for today? Do you know?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Today will be a
Anyways.
good marker, I think, as to how big 1D will be, but I would highly anticipate 1D to be 10-handed.
I don't know, man. They say this shit every year. We'll see.
But it's 10-handed often.
Not that often, no.
Playing
Yeah.
10-handed?
Yeah, I kind of don't
We
mind.
played 10-handed at least 4 times in the last 10 years. And you have to remember that
I've never played.
they
10-handed.
just brought back 1D.
No, one thing's been around for
No.
at least 5 years.
No. This is only this actually might be the first year they brought it back.
What? No.
There was
bro.
a 5 or 6 year window where 1D didn't exist any longer. They just ran 3-day ones. So 1A, 1B
Oh, maybe. I know. I
played in
always played the
segregated
last.
rooms on day 2, and 1C played by itself.
Yeah.
Because it was so big.
Yeah.
1C always plays by itself. Or what? The last play always plays by itself, right?
No, because now it's 1D. Now there are 4 flights. That's what I'm saying. That was why I
C
used that
and
point.
D are playing together.
Correct.
50 seconds.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah. I always played the flight that just
So-
was like on its own.
Yeah, 1C.
For like until day
right.
3.
So for like 7 years or so, they inside joke. They got rid of 1D. But then the field started growing again. So they either brought it back last year, expecting bigger fields than what they actually got, but I don't remember. Or they brought it back this year. So hopes are that 1D won't be 10-handed, but a lot of people wait for that final day.
I was really set on playing the final day, and now I'm like,
I know.
Maybe I
I
should
might
play
I'm
the
play
still
on
still
day
playing
now.
final
1A,
day.
1B, 1C.
Fuck that.
Well,
Let's go.
you guys can all decide which day you're playing because it's going to dictate what day I play so that the show can
Goes
go
on.
on.
The show must go on.
We will have a show.
There
should we
was
talk
1D.
about our picks?
Yeah.
No,
There was 1D yesterday.
Or are we going to
No?
wait?
it was me last year.
I mean, last year. Sorry.
Yeah, last year I think it was the first year they brought it back.
In October, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, do we want to say
No,
PS?
we'll talk about all that tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been a long one.
So a lot of stuff we didn't get to today. We'll push that back till tomorrow. We'll cover our draft. We're going to talk about the Doug Polk CoinFlex announcement. We'll also discuss a little bit more main event stuff and some
then,
PSAs. To all of you out there slinging it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please check out solveforwhy.io. We have a new episode of On Second Thought out today. That's where I go through a Poker Out Loud hand, compare it to what the sim did, compared to the in-game strategy of those playing. I believe it's another Christian Nate hand this week. You guys are very popular battling it out button versus big blind. Be sure to check that out. Free 2-week trial to anybody who wants to sign up. Thank you guys
4 seats left of the academy.
4 seats left to the academy.
September.
Oh, they're going
September's.
They're
Yeah.
flying
Yeah.
off the shelf.
August is sold out. September, we got 4 seats left, so they're going to go quick.
Yeah, listen to Maverick over there.
Yep.
He won't,
Maverick says academy.solveforwhy.io. Get your seat before it's gone.
he won't steer you wrong.
You might even get some tortoise tips of the trade.
Wow.
Maybe.
All right, that's
Keep
going to
those
wrap it
close
for
to the
us.
vest.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. And hey, have a happy and safe 4th of July. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Don't drink
Main
and drive.
event time!
Do not drink and drive.